What's up all you cool snakes and neonates? How's it going? I hope you are all keeping well. Today we are going to answer that question I get asked most at kids' parties. If I survive, Hunter, could you not? Now, Hunter is going into breeding season, which is usually when we stop using him for parties, because he does this. He gets very tense. He likes to squeeze and push his body against everything, and he just makes it really awkward to hold him like he is just now. I should really have another person here helping me hold him, just in case I get into a spot of bother. Not that he would mean to, but out of accident, with his sheer strength and sheer size, he could... No, you're not bringing stuff off the top of the mantle this time. Remember last episode, he pulled the drill off the top there. On the subject of his size, let's go and weigh our handsome Hunter. But first I've got to weigh myself. What do I weigh? 12.38. Right, and now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Don't know how accurate this is going to be, but stepping onto the scales. 14 stone 10.6. So just over 2 stone. There we go. The long-awaited question has been answered. How much does Hunter weigh? The answer's always been a lot. He weighs enough to set off the seatbelt alarm if the seatbelt's not plugged in the car. So let's go and pop him back inside in the warmth, and we'll have a look at giving him a little bit extra in his enclosure. So there we go. Hunter weighs almost exactly 2.5 stone. That's 13.8 kilograms. He's a heavy boy. He's also a very strong boy right now, and he's fighting me with all of his being. Not intentionally trying to strangle me, he's just being very tense and a bit of a nightmare to hold is our Hunter. So I think pretty soon he's going to be not handleable anymore for kids' parties, because he's just been a bit of a nightmare. Once he comes out of this breeding behaviour, he'll be perfect again. But for the time being, it's not worth it. He's just too much of a hassle. He's too strong. He's a bit of a nightmare. As you can see here, when he's in his enclosure, he rubs his nose off everything. He tries his hardest to push his glass open. He's just an absolute brat when he is in breeding mode. However, I do want to make him a shelf for in there, because in my opinion, that enclosure is too small for Hunter. I was going to build him another 8 foot, however, next year I want to get the ball rolling with the zoo. So I don't see a point in building him another 8 foot enclosure when next year we're going to be getting ready, hopefully, at least get the ball rolling. Could take years, but hopefully we could get the ball rolling and know where we stand with opening our zoo here in Dundee. So I don't see the point in giving him a bigger enclosure. So I'm going to put a big shelf in there. It's going to increase his floor space a little bit, give him a bit more to climb on, be a bit better for him rather than just pretty much a plain box with a branch in it. So let's go and give him a shelf. Where are you going, my hunters? You being a silly man again? You being silly? You being a silly boy? Let's measure that enclosure. Well, actually, I don't really need to measure this enclosure. I think 3 foot by 1.5 foot will be just a fine size of shelf. I'm not sure what we're going to do about heating. We've got a radiator thing in there, so we're going to put that back so that it's basking down onto the shelf, so he's got a basking spot on that shelf, and we'll maybe go from there. Might even remove that ceramic, or we'll pull it forward. I'm not entirely sure yet, but yeah, once we put a shelf in there, I'm going to edit the heating as well so that he can get a lot more of a gradient as well, because right now, because those heaters are heating that, they tend to just raise the temperature of the whole Viv at the moment, because like I say, he's a bit big for that enclosure, so the heat source has to be big to heat his whole big self. Because the heat source is a large area, it's that and that, it's basically heating the whole enclosure, and he's not getting too much of a gradient. Whereas if I put a shelf on the back and make the shelf into a basking spot, the heat doesn't have to travel down as far. It's going to bask that spot and give a better gradient throughout the enclosure as well. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to give Hunter some love, and then hopefully, like I say, next year we can get looking into opening our own zoo, and Hunter can get a giant enclosure in our zoo when it happens. So that'll be pretty good and exciting. So I'm up in the Reptile Rich super secret storehouse. It's actually my attic, where I keep all the spare bits of wood and things like that, spare vivs and things. Because when you keep so many animals, you've got to have spares. It's a must. I've just come across this bit of wood here. It's chipboard. I don't really like using chipboard. However, it's in really good condition. I don't know where it's come from. I'm hoping it's not from another viv because it's on its own. But it's the perfect size. It's literally, I don't even need to cut it. And because it's chipboard, it's already coated and stuff. Now, like I said, I don't like using chipboard. Moisture gets into chipboard, but I've got a little tiny bit of varnish left from building Hunter's Viv originally. So I could probably run a lip of varnish along all these porous edges, because you can see on chipboard, you see all those porous exposed edges right there. Quality of this section is not going to be great because the lighting's not great. Apologise about that, guys. I just literally came up here with my phone and thought, oh, I'll take you up into the secret store. But yeah, so you can see it's porous, so this lets moisture in. It destroys it, it literally rots it. It's why I don't tend to use Viv Exotic Vivs, because they're fine for like a corn snake, but as soon as you start putting humidity and things into a Viv Exotic, unless you've got it fully sealed, they don't last long. But if I varnish the edges of this, we might make it last. And like I say, it's only temporary. It's only hopefully until we open our zoo. So it's at least going to last us 2 or 3 years. Let's go and varnish it and bang it in there. We'll need to find an extra bit of wood though to support the edge, because Hunter, as we've just found out, is 2.5 stone. He's a heavy lad. So we need to get I've probably got an old bit of tree branch somewhere that I can make into like a leg for this. So we're going to make a leg for it too. I could use box section, but why do that when I've got bits of actual tree branches that I can pop on here? That's going to look a bit more natural and a little bit better. Look at this bad boy I just found. That'll do nicely. Size of that! That's going to hold up as 2.5 stone. So I've decided to varnish the top as well, because normally chipboard is covered in like a plasticky sort of cover. It's made to look like wood, but it never is. But this is actually covered in like a layer of wood. It's like a, you know, like a plywood sort of coating on the outside of the chipboard. And it's feeling a bit grainy, so I'm varnishing it just now, and it's actually coming up really nice with the varnish. It looks really good. I'm coating it on thick. It means it's going to take longer to dry, but it needs the protection because snake pee can be quite abrasive. See Daddy fine? Yeah? Right, so Theo's on the camera right now. He wants to be the cameraman for a little bit after his fantastic cameraman skills on our Harry Potter video. So, we have varnished this bit of wood. I've managed to find these bits that are also perfect size. This bit's big by about 1 inch, but we're going to cut that a little bit. So this bit's perfect size, and this is going to be one of the legs. Chunky bit of wood, because there's going to be a chunky snake it's going to have to hold up, so it's got to be strong. So yeah, we're going to measure what height we want it in the Viv, and then we're going to cut this to the right height, screw these to the side of the Viv, and this bit of plank is going to sit on them. So let's get into it. Steady in it. Yeah? Head in it and everything. Top of my head's not cut off. It's not cut off, or it is?
No.
No, it's not cut off. Okay, Theo's there nodding in the back. Theo's the cameraman for the day, aren't you, cheekers? And Theo is about to be keeping Hunter busy, because you should never ever work on the enclosure with the animal in the enclosure. It can instigate feeding response and things like that. It's not good, especially for an animal with a high food response like our Hunter here. Ain't it? So what we're going to do, as we always do, we address him with a hook, don't we, Theo? We don't go into the enclosure straight away. Never ever go straight in the enclosure. We always stroke him with a hook until we at least see a tongue flick. Or you can sit down here with Daddy's. Yeah? Comfy? Right, and then we're going to help Daddy with Hunter. Right, he's refusing to waken up and be sensible. There we go. We're being sensible now. There you go, Theo, have a snake. So, we're going to pull him out. And for the moment, while we're working in here, our Hunter is just going to have a little wander about. He's going to have an explore, stretch his legs. Like I say, this enclosure is too small for a Hunter. In my opinion, So I like to have him out and about as much as possible. Remember, he does go to work and things like that. So he does, you see him flinching. So this is what he does, is he flinches while it's breeding season.
He's flinching at me.
Yeah, so we wanted him to wake up. Wake up, big man. There you go. That's it. So being silly. So we're going to put Hunter in his travel box because he's just been too much of a pain just now. Normally he's super inquisitive and gentle.
So he's tangling me.
Yep, he's tangling Theo up. He's just rushing at everything. He's just being a pain in the bottom right now. He's getting in the way while we're trying to work with power tools and children. I can't keep an eye on 12-foot python and work on his enclosure too. The bonus is now you get a close-up view of what I'm doing. We're going to start a GoFundMe page for a chainsaw for Reptile Rich. The amount of wood I cut by hand is crazy. Action! Good job, well done. Right, so we have got it in, secure. I've shifted the heat around. I've shifted the thermostat to here. So this is going to be his main basking spot. This is going to give him a much better temperature gradient, because before there was that much heat in here to heat his whole chunky body.
Yeah.
But by the time the heat got down to the bottom, it had pretty much heated the whole vivarium to the exact same temperature because there was so much heat and such a big space to fill. So what I've done is raised the floor basically, put this radiator over the top of here, so this is going to be his main basking temperature. The key with reptiles is to give them choice of what heat they get. Not really what he had before was like a difference of 2 degrees almost. It wasn't fantastic.
No.
Was it, Theo?
No,
it wasn't. So this way he's going to get a strong basking spot here, be a slightly warmer spot here, and he should now have a cold end down the far away end, hopefully. I've got my trusty temperature gun. We'll get the glass washed, get the glass back in, and I'll keep an eye on all these temperatures. But we've got some branches here, because all vivs look better with the greenage, so I'm going to probably tie that one to there and that one to there, add a bit of greenage to it, and that'll be pretty much Hunter's enclosure done for now. When Hunter does move up to a bigger enclosure, or if, like I mentioned earlier, if we end up going to a zoo or whatever, these vivs will probably be obsolete. But if we end up keeping a hold of these vivs, this will be Mordecai, the red-tailed boa's forever home, because this is we've now made this fantastic. This is a really good home now. Mordecai. Yep, we'll take a look at Mordecai in just a moment. But yeah, this is looking good. So let's get some greenage in here and finish this off.
So here's what we're doing.
This is what we're doing. So just spotted a flaw here, or what could potentially be a problem. So snakes, when they're exploring, can, believe it or not, get themselves stuck and in silly situations. Now here, look, there's about just over a 2-finger gap between this sharp corner here and this. Normally you would be like, oh, that's not a problem, but remember, Hunter is thicker than my arm, but he can flatten himself down, and he gets thicker as he goes down his body. So if he puts his neck through there, he could get himself caught in here. It's always something to be wary of when you're building your enclosures. Now, I've just drilled a hole in this. This was the bit that we cut off the top of this wood here. I could put that there, like so. It will close up that gap, mean that Hunter can't get in. And...
But can you knock over?
No, I'll screw it down, cheeks. It will actually look pretty cool. Like the tree trunk is coming straight up through the bit of wood there. So yeah, it's going to aesthetically be kind of cool as well, but it's going to have a function. It's going to stop Hunter from getting in there and getting himself stuck and causing problems. Right, that's that screwed in there, like so.
I think we're done now.
You think we're done now? So it's screwed in, it's not going to move anywhere. It looks kind of cool as well, the way it comes up through the shelf like that, to be honest with you. A little sort of cool spot for you. And yeah, plugs up that hole so Hunter can't get in there. Perfect, I can't even get my finger in there. Now, so there we go. Good stuff, Hunter proofed. So here we go, we've just put him back in. He's in too much of a strop just now. He's probably not really going to be interested in it at first. Yeah. Because, like I say, he's going into breeding mode. So everything with him is a struggle right now. We did a birthday party with him, or a Halloween party, just yesterday. And I think that'll be his last event for this year, because it just becomes too much of a hassle to handle. Too much of a pain in the bum. You can see him there. He just pushed his body up against the glass because he felt the glass touching him. That's what he does. He pushes up against things. He charges at you and he just behaves like a little brat. He doesn't hurt you. He doesn't bite you or anything like that. He's just awkward to deal with and awkward to handle. So the hope of this new shelf, like I say, is going to give him a basking spot. It's going to give him a better temperature gradient, and it's also going to give him more floor space. So that's a 6x3x3, and now he's also got an extra 3 foot by 2.5 foot shelf in there as well. So it gives him a bit extra climbing space, a bit of extra floor space. And I like how it sort of ties in with the same height as his branch, which he's currently going up on right now, which is pretty cool. Yeah, that's the wrong end, mate. That's not the new bit, you silly sausage. But yeah, so it all ties in actually quite nicely in there. It looks pretty good. It's functional, it's aesthetically pleasing, it's pretty good. I feel a little bit better. He's going to have a bit better quality of life now with that temperature gradient being better in there, and things like that. So yeah, that's it's not taking up extra floor space, it's giving him extra floor space, giving him more enrichment. As I always say, guys, they always get enrichment and things. The annoying thing about this Viv is because I built it with these flanks on the side here, it actually looks smaller than it is. These things are quite chunky, and the Viv, of course, goes in behind them. So the Viv is actually bigger than it looks just because of the way that I've built it. It's designed with these bits coming around the front to make him feel a bit more secluded in there and not quite as on show straight in the front, if you know what I mean. But I like to see the animals climbing and stuff like that. Where you going, handsome? You're at the wrong side, you silly monkey. You're a silly man. Where you going? So put these greens in here. They look good. Because of this time of year, he explores and is constantly active and trying to get out and look for loopholes in the enclosure. They're probably going to get destroyed pretty quickly. But they look good for 5 minutes. That's the main thing. Yeah, look at that beautiful, big, handsome man. Long boy. He's a long boy, isn't he? Another animal who's had an upgrade and has had a redecorate is Mordecai. Mordecai went into this enclosure here, the 6-foot enclosure, much better for him. It's lighter walls, so it's much better for his coloration as well. So he's had another shed. His colours are looking amazing now that he's out of that dark enclosure and into this brighter enclosure. Marley, the old man that was in here, he's gone into Mordecai's older enclosure. He's a little bit on the thinner side in build wise, not underweight. He's just smaller in build, so he'll fit better into the 4x2x2. It's actually, I think, closer to a 4x3, but we'll just say a 4x2x2 just now. And Mordecai here is in the 6x3x2. Because this is what I like. You see, he's up here in this branch. You could almost imagine him being somewhere in South America. Just a boa, you've stumbled across him in the jungle there with those branches and stuff like that in there. How cool is that? That's exactly what I had envisioned for him. But look at these colours here. Isn't he gorgeous? He's such a beautiful man. I don't think we're going to get him down from there. He's too entangled. We're going to leave him in there. Oh. I know, Theo.
I think I'm missing a
But we've got a little bit of pictures and footage of him. But there you go. There's Mordecai in his enclosure.
I take Mr. Nubbs out.
I also, yes, you can take Mr. Nubbins out. I also like them to have a safe place. So if they're in a safe spot like this, I don't always like to take them out of it, because the animals, you want the animals to feel like they have a safe spot they can go to when they don't want you to mess with them, kind of thing. So that's obviously Mordecai's safe spot. When he comes down from there, we can take him out. And Theo's got Mr. Nubbs. Hello, Mr. Nubbins. How are you, Mr. Handsome Man? The king of the nubs. Is he awesome? Can you remember what Mr. Nubbins is?
No.
No, bearded dragon. Bearded dragon comes from Australia. There you go, Mr. Nubbs and Theo. Now I've got to clear up all the mess that I've left on the carpet.
No, Mr. Nubbins.
Hunter is doing well. Having a little explore of his shelf there.
And so is Mr. Nubbins.
So is Mr. Nobbins. Unfortunately, Hunter is literally just looking for a girlfriend. He goes up, has a sniff at the shelf for 5 minutes, then comes back to the glass again. Well guys, there you have it. The handsome big Hunter here has a new home, new shelf. Well, he's got the same home, but he's got a new shelf. It's revamped. It's all handsome looking. It's all beautiful. To be honest with you, it looks that good. I might just move in there. As always, thank you very much for tuning in. Don't forget to like the video, comment on the video, let us know what you guys think about Hunter and his new shelf, his new climbing frame, and of course, you can subscribe through my ugly mug right there. There'll be a random video for you right there, and a playlist for you right up there. That from me, Theo, Hunter, and the rest of the gang. Take it easy guys, peace.